Hey, how's it going, folks? Welcome to a dinner time episode of Elektron Talk. And for whatever reason, I've just been through the most frustrating ordeal with OBS and Stream Deck and a bunch of other streamer stuff that's been driving me insane for the last couple hours. I'm like trying to woo-saw myself, like trying to get my blood down from the boiling point that I was at, because it was just incredibly frustrating. So let's crack one of these Pellegrinos open, and I'm open to a sponsorship from you, Pellegrino, if you happen to really like the Octatrack. Whatever. These things are good. Damn, I should have kept it in the fridge a little longer. A little warm. What's going on, folks? Trent, how are you? Harry? Welcome to the stream. We're going to open up with, today's stream is sponsored by me. It's sponsored by Modbang, and I'm going to show you why in a second, because me and my buddy Jordan continue to design products for our favorite synthesizers, for me, namely Elektron stuff, so I make these risers. We made one that's innovative and fixes something I consider to be a glaring issue with the Analog 4 Mark II and Analog Rhythm Mark II, and I'll show you in a little bit what I mean. But before we do that, I want to show you a demo of this special Octatrack thing that I'm doing. I don't want to call it a template because it's not really a template, but basically I'm working on a project right now that transforms the Octatrack into an effects box inspired by the Microcosm, the Mood Mark II, pretty much just inspired by granular synthesis and a lot of delays. And it does some mid-side processing as well. And it sounds really good. If you're in my Discord, you've already maybe heard a couple of demos. If you're on my Patreon, you've definitely heard a couple of demos. This is going to be something that you get from my Patreon. It's going to be a while before it's out, but it's going to have 64 different presets for you to just plug your guitar into or synthesizers into and get some beautiful sounds out of it. And I swear to God, I've literally pushed the Octatrack to its absolute furthest limit doing this project. I have discovered a plethora of bugs within the machine, and I didn't know there was still so many issues with the Octatrack until I pushed it as far as I've pushed it with what I'm doing. Multiple delays, lots of recording tracks that are playing back at slow rates, and it's just the Octatrack is having trouble keeping up. But when it works really well. So hopefully during the demo, the Octatrack will behave correctly, and you'll get a nice ear candy taste. Also, I mean, let's go ahead and switch this. Let's switch it over. I got the Analog heat+fx. It's finally here. I finally have one of these in my setup, and I have no idea what to do with it or why I got it. I think I just got it because it was finally available to me. Like, we hadn't had them in the synth shop here in Seattle in ever, really. They were all pre-ordered like forever, and nobody could get them from Elektron. Nobody could get them anywhere, basically. Elektron didn't anticipate their desire for these units when they came out with them, that so many people would be interested in them, and they didn't make enough units, and so it's taken a really long time for people to get these units. And so I finally had an opportunity to pick one up, and I did, and I shouldn't have, but I did sell my Analog Heat Mark I to compensate for some of the semi-ridiculous price that it is to pick up an Analog Heat plus effects. And I honestly don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to have like a whole stream sometime in the next couple of weeks that we just dedicate to talking about the Analog Heat plus effects and like what is a good use case for it, and like maybe some stuff to compare to it with other pieces of kit versus what it does for the price point. Like very quickly, very briefly, we can chat about that. In fact, we can pop over to this little face chat version, so if other people are there, we can have some dialogue. But alternatively to picking up an Analog Heat plus effects, you could potentially, if you're just looking for a master bus compressor that has a high pass filter so it doesn't like suck the transients out of your kicks and snares and bass lines, you could pick up a warm audio stereo bus compressor for a little bit less than an Analog Heat plus effects. So, and it also has, you can turn the transistors on and off on it for sound coloring as well. All analog, nice rack mount unit, beautiful piece of kit. And I've heard it live at a show. It was really great. I mean, it's bigger than Analog Heat, but it was really great. No presets, but you set it and forget it, right? And you put it in the spot that you want. And I think that that's a comparable alternative to picking up an Analog Heat plus effects if you're just going for end of chain. It's going to give you a mild saturation, and it's going to give you a nice stereo bus compression for your mix, for a live setting and or for recording. And you'll save $100 and it will do the trick. Because there's some scope creep that comes in with the Analog Heat plus effects. So this thing kind of like gets you into this spot where you're like, oh, I have all of these features. I have all these distortion circuits. Like, when do you use them? I have this analog filter that's incredibly resonant. When do I use an analog filter that's so resonant? I don't know. I mean, I barely touch the resonance. It's very strong. I mean, in some of the other filter settings, for sure. I do think that the unit shines as a solo box at this point, at this stage. Early Analog Heat Mark 1, even Mark 2. I mean, Mark 2 and Mark 1 are the same unit, but I think the early version of the Analog Heat, when people are just throwing at their end of chain, they were getting them used for like $300 or $400. Of course. It's almost a no-brainer. Like $300 or $400, throw at the end of the chain for all of your hardware, electronic music stuff, add a little bit of coloration, do its pseudo compression that it has, and just have things sound a little bit nicer. Bump the highs up on the EQ. The EQ does sound good, right? I don't even know how the EQ works on the Heat. Like it's, there's no, you can't control it. It's just high or low. It's just a shelf. It's probably like the bass width filter, but the analog version of it. Some sort of boost. I don't know. I don't even know how the boost works. But I think at those really cheap price points, like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. And go ahead and do it. At $900 to throw like warble and some other effects features on it at the end of the chain, you're never going to use warble at the end of your chain for a techno set. You're never going to use that at a house set. You're not going to use that in drum and bass. You're not going to turn warble on in the middle of your kit, in the middle of your set. I mean, it's just not going to happen. I can't imagine it happening. Maybe somebody would do it, but you'd be remiss if you ever thought that I would do it, because it's not going to sound very good. So to me, I think the unit definitely shines at this point as a device paired with a singular other device. If you want to take advantage of those features, throw it behind a drum machine or throw it behind a synthesizer, like maybe one that doesn't have effects, for instance, like a Prophet 5, perhaps, has no effects. Throw an Analog Heat plus effects behind that unit, warm it up, give it a nice distortion, all those cool circuits, the envelope follower. You could do some really interesting and fun, unique stuff with Analog Heat plus effects with a synthesizer. As far as what I'm doing right here, this is a privileged looking setup, I would say. As you could notice, I took my silver Syntact out because I couldn't handle it. I thought I could. I thought I could handle the look of the silver Syntact in my mix, but I couldn't do it. I need this. This is a nice looking mothership. And right now, I did sell my Mark 1 for very cheap as kind of a Christmas gift to a homie at work. And I do get a decent discount at synthesizer stuff because I work at the synth shop. That's like, we don't get any other discount. We don't get anything else. We don't get like medical insurance. So we get a good deal on a synthesizer. So I got an okay deal. Not amazing or anything. I didn't get it free from Elektron or anything. I bought this and threw it at the end of my chain, just like I did before, because I want to play with the bass to mono feature, and I want to play with the digital compressor. And mind you, my templates that I use on the Octatrack for live performance, they have dual compressors for the inputs. So I already have the digital compressor. And unless the compressor in here is more unique than the compressors that I have on my Octatrack, I don't know. I do like the idea that I have a dual compressor. You set the compressors to the RMS settings. This isn't the template, so I can't show you that right here, but I will. We can go back to it if we want. Anyhow, I have a lot to say about the Analog Heat plus effects, as you can tell. And I'm going to have this entire conversation again sometime this month as I dive deep into the unit, because I haven't dove into the unit so far. I learned how to move the effects around, how to dial them in, and I put it back to basically where I usually had the Analog Heat and turned on the bass to mono thing, which has filters. I haven't quite figured it out yet, to be honest. I'm not an expert at this unit yet because it's pretty new. to me. I do think it's beautiful. Like, I love this look. I'm like, this is the mothership. This is heavy, you know? This is a heavy thing to lug around to a show. Like, the most ideal situation here, and I got, you know, I got the 303 over here, or TB03. The most ideal situation would be like the 3 units. Like, these gone, not this gone, maybe this gone, and this gone. So, like, these two not here, that's ideal. That's easy workflow. I could talk about this for a long time. Mina Elmore says, is Elektron gear good for a first piece of music gear? Yes. Yes, it is. In fact, I would even say skip the model samples, model cycles. Get them if your budget keeps you in that price point. If that is like your only option, and that's fair. I mean, life is life. What are you gonna do? If your budget is that and you want to make some hardware electronic music or get a nice drum machine or a drum synth in the model cycles, then get a model samples or model cycles. Otherwise, skip straight to the Digitact. And if sampling's not your thing and you're really interested in synthesis, skip straight to the Syntact and just get one. Find one used if you can. You know, make sure it's not busted or anything, but find one used, get a Syntact. It's a piece of cake. This is the easiest of Elektron boxes that exists, in my opinion. It's easier than the model samples. This thing's easier than the model samples by like leagues, I think. It's just something, it's a more intuitive UI. It's just designed in a more convenient way. What about the RNC, says Harry? That's a really good point. The RNC, what Harry's referring to, is the really nice compressor. And the RNC is cool. It does have a high-pass filter input. You do have to buy like a little tiny high-pass filter unit and run it through the sidechain input in order to do that. And there's some Etsy sellers that sell little high-pass deals that you can do. It looks a little clunky when you do that. You got this little wire hanging out of the butt of the unit, and it's like looping around. It's not pretty. The RNC is pretty enough. The RNLA is the other option there, the really nice limiting amplifier, and it does the same thing as the RNC. They're both going to be compressors. The RNLA happens to be a little bit more expensive, and it colors the sound more than the RNC, right? Because the RNC is just straight up a very transparent compressor. RNLA is a amplifier, so it's going to have some saturation to it. My favorite thing about the Heat is the envelope follower. I agree. So like the envelope follower, I think would be a really great option on the analog. I mean, not a great option. It's there. Option to use is the envelope follower. Let's get my head together. The envelope follower is awesome. Well, now that we have the compressor built into the analog heat+fx, we actually can use the envelope follower in a creative way as opposed to what we were doing before. Because before the heat+fx came out, the envelope follower was being used to create a pseudo compressor on the analog heat. So we didn't get to use the envelope follower, right? We just used it as a compressor. This unit could have been under the desk for all we cared. We never touched it. Do we even turn it off? I don't know. I'm saying we because I think I can lump a lot of us into the same category here. That we're just like, this thing is off to the side. It's turned on. It's at the sweet spot. We leave it alone. This needs to be tweaked. I think that this is a cool unit. I'm actually in the process of trying to figure out where I want to put it. Maybe I put it over here, move the Octatrack over here, run Digitact directly into the analog heat so that I can do some distortion on my drums. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it should go here with the syntax so I can do distortion on synthesizers. That actually might make more sense because the distortion on it is amazing. Like, it's an amazing tool. I just, what are we going to use it for? I don't know. I feel like I could really talk about this a lot, and I do want to save it for another discussion because there's too much to say that it could go on for a long time, and I want to be able to do demonstrations, and I don't intend on doing a bunch of demonstrations of the analog heat+fx in this stream. I just wanted to mention that it's here. But I do want to show you this template. I'm not going to tell you how the template's made. I'm going to wait till I'm done with it and it's released because it's in one of its 5 different iterations that I've had of it. I was up till like 2 in the morning last night playing with it. It sounds awesome. So to engage it, we use the crossfader. This is an engaged version, and we also want the sequencer running because it is using some of the tracks. Let me see if these are working. Cool. That one's working. Okay. You ready? Check it out. Here's dry. This is dry digatone. Okay. Getting a little click on one of these. Shouldn't though. Here's another one of the presets. Pretty sick. Obviously I'm not done at all. There's a lot more to do. Let me see, let's go to another preset here. This one's really good with a drone. Listen to that? That's 7 semitones down, giving us a 5th. Isn't that awesome? Ah, it's good. It sounds good. When it works, it works. Whoops, I hit a wrong note. It does for real sound like a microcosm, am I right? Could run some other kinds of sounds here. Let me see. A little chord sound. Just another preset. Octacosm. Hopefully I'll have it ready by Christmas, and it's gonna have a lot of presets, a lot of different sounds that it can do, and but mostly it's gonna sound like that because that's, you know, what it does. The microcosm and the mood are, you know, have a lot of developers behind it, and this is literally just me and an Octatrack just making the most out of the Octatrack. So it'll be cheap. I don't know. It'll be on my Patreon for all the Patreons at whatever tier, you know, you want it to be, but I'll probably sell it for like $10 or something on Coffee if you want to pick it up for your Octatrack. I think it's cool. If you own an Octatrack, you're gonna be able to turn it into this granular delay thing, make some beautiful sounds. You can sample from here. You can get a copy of your sounds and make loops and then save them to your compact flash card on your Octatrack and transfer them to your computer. So you can use this and just make a bunch of cool loops with your existing studio gear and then put it on any other box that you got, just like you would with a microcosm or a blooper or a Mood Mark II or a Specular Tempest or whatever. There's so many different units out there, and I'm actually thinking about maybe adding a Chic template to it so that we can control some more of the internals of the effects. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know about that. That's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. But I hope you like it. For those of you who are on my Patreon, this is going to be my Christmas present to you, since this is what everybody voted that they wanted more than anything else when I gave you all the options. So yeah, I'll put a little link to the timestamp in the video later so that you can jump over and listen to this demo if you want. So yeah, let me do my little, so like I said, it was sponsored by me, sponsored by Modbang, but really what I mean is I just want to show you this. So as you may know, I like my gear flat. And we know that the Analog 4 is a slanted unit, right? It's slanted. But not anymore, because we have made it flat. We have flattened out the Analog 4 and the Analog Rhythm. If you are interested in getting yourself a riser that lifts your Analog 4 above your cables next to your gear and makes it flat, let me see if I can show you a little bit what I mean. Hang on. Look at that. That is a flat Analog 4, if you ask me. Perfectly level. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's really great for doing like video content, especially, right? Because we get a flat perspective of the unit. But I think it's really cool. And they're available if you want. For a pretty darn good price, if you ask me. Right here. This is it right here. And me and my buddy made these. And it took us a while to make them. Here's some cool photos of it that I took. A couple different colors to choose from. This is what they look like. And this is what they can do. Look at that. Isn't that just wonderful? I don't know about you, but I like when they came out with the Analog 4 and the Analog Rhythm, I was, the Mark II versions, I was very excited about them, to say the least, but like, I like the flat block, I like these blocky boxes. Kind of like for the same reason that I don't like a lot of newer cars. Like, they're just so like, everything's rounded off at every edge and stuff, and I don't know, there's just something about it. I like this blocky vibe. So yeah, if anybody's interested in picking up a flat something to turn their Analog 4 Analog Rhythm flat, check it out, modbang.com. We're doing the thing. You actually like the slant. Well, I do also have a riser that just keeps the slant. We do have both. I haven't put it in the shop yet, but if you're wanting to do the riser thing like I do, I like the risers. For me, I can look how close all these units get to each other because of it. They're so simple. They come apart and you can connect them together. It's good stuff. It is good stuff. All right, let's get this sucker out of here. With that being said, it's been a while since I got to work on any music. So that's kind of what I want to do now. We played with this cool demo of the Octacosm. And now I'm gonna make some music. So let's get out of here. Octacosm 0.50. You can see how far along I am, not very far. Techno. I don't think I'm gonna make any techno right now, but maybe I will. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna start on the syntax and just start with some really nasty sounds. Right, this is probably the last thing I wrote. It's been a long time. You know what? I wish I could remember what it sounded like before I added this to it, because I do have the wait, how do I get to that section again? Flow, that's what it is. I do have the heat and the bass to mono thing. Let's bring the heat. Yeah, we'll go heat and then bass to mono. I do have the bass to mono turned on, which is supposed to just, you know, make the bass monophonic so that it's not so spread across the stereo field, which I like. I like that idea, but I don't really know what to do with it. I have stereo. Wait, I don't want the bass to stereo. What's going on with that? Bass to mono. Doi. Okay, there we go. That's what I want. Let's hear it now. Oh, that. Listen to how mono that got. Okay, check it out. Okay, maybe I do like this. This is the thing. This is the thing I was the most excited about. Not gonna lie. I like literally was okay with spending as much money as I spent to pick up an analog heat+fx, just to like once again, of course, have my saturation that I love to have on my boxes, but to have the bass to mono, because this is an improvement to your sound and live. It's an improvement to your live sound. And you can filter with it too. So you can use it like a DJ filter, like right here. There we go. That's kind of cool. Let's see. Oh my God, that sound. Wait. I'm curious. I want to hear how this sounds to use it as a filter or transition. So let's take some elements out. Pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. Okay, I could use that live as an alternative to one of these effects. So I could go like, and use an effect. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. All right, there's some definite value there, I think, for a live performance tool without having to use this filter. I'm not a dog, but somehow I shed my dog's hairs. But I'm not a dog. If only if they were all silver, that'd be one thing. I'm glad they're black. I mean, I like that they're black, but my dog is white. So what are you gonna do? Okay, I do like the sound. Let's go to a new spot here. What is it about that? It sounds so weird. Oh, that's why. Nah. Well, we're not going to mess with that. In fact, we're deleting that whole pattern. Okay. Back to 5. And here. 128, 1/2, 128, 1, whatever. Might not be a big deal. We could deal with that later. 32. Let's go 16. Okay. Don't mind if I do. That's really cool too. Dual VCO is the best. And copy that again. What do we have? You know, we're not starting on a C. I'm embarrassed to be on a C unit for so long. A C unit? A C note, I mean. Heat+fx. Oh, hang on here. Let's I like the sound. We don't need to mess with the sound. Let's just clear the notes. We're in D sharp Dorian. Let's do, I don't know. I guess we could just use chromatic. Could just use chromatic. Keep the quantized for now. Let's go 32. Did I do 32 before? No, I did. Did I? I did, okay. Okay, I do like that sound. And what's making it sound so cool is the balance and the tune right here. And I don't really want to mess with it because it sounds like it works. But I do want to play with the trig LFO. Trig on and off. Like being able to turn the trigs and the LFOs on and off. This is a really powerful feature to create what I would call automation. So like, we can see what it sounds like with some filtering. Okay. What if we went like, BAM! And then like hit on the 9 here, like. Okay, copy. I'm going to save it to a temporary state because I'm going to do some adjustments with my trigger, my LFO trig. We're going to use a ramp LFO because that's like the most useful LFO shape, I think. At least that's what I think. Ramp, trig mode. Let's bring this way down. Like 16. And I'm going to put it on the balance. Or we could try with the tune, but let's start with the balance. We'll go save this now. Trig on, and then, wait, no, we want trig on here, and then I don't want a trig here and a trig on here, and no trig here. Try the tune. Whew. Okay. I'm having a pretty good time. I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely enjoying this. Make sure this is the right length. When was it? What was the tip? I guess it's just right on the 1, huh? The sound is cool, but not cool enough. I think what we need to do is change the speed so we get 8 bars out of this. 'Cause right now we're only getting 4 bars out of this pattern, so let's make it 8 bars so I can get some of those semitones. I just want half a semitone down to kind of accentuate a bit of it, but it means that we need to copy this, copy this, copy this, copy this, copy this, paste. I guess it's the same note every time, so it doesn't really matter. This one is... here. I definitely screwed that up. We wanted to go da 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 da, something like that. What's up, chat? What's up, chat folks? Chatty folk. Let's say what's up to let me say hello to the chat. Hello, chat. Wow, I missed a lot of chat. Diggy was your first piece of music gear. Temmie Shocks. Temmie Shocks? It's a great piece of kit for the first piece. It's amazing. Thought it was a new product. I'm thinking of buying myself a Syntax for Christmas. You should. You'll love it. Didn't Liebox say that first? Digifx? What's up, Digifx Electronics? You got some good tutorials, by the way. I know you've popped in here. I don't know if I said that to you. You should know that. Excited to see how this new way of working impacts your music. We're getting real dreamy here. Oh, we're all the way back at the Octacosm demo. What's this? Dog hair? No beating it, huh? I think I got it. Scaring my cats. If you're only going to have one Elektron box for a while and don't have other gear to utilize the DT's MIDI track, Syntax will probably be a better choice unless you love sampling 4 more tracks. That's a good... That's an interesting take on it. Having more tracks doesn't necessarily mean good things. For instance, I mean, the Deluge is good. I'm going to use the Deluge as a example here. Even though the Deluge is awesome and they just released that cool firmware update. The Deluge has unlimited tracks, but it doesn't mean that the people that buy Deluges are all making great music. Like, there's something about the unlimited tracks or having a lot of tracks that doesn't help, is not helping musicians make better music. Having more options doesn't necessarily mean better tunes in the long run, because your focus there is no focus. That's the problem, is that there's always a room for there's another track, there's another sound that you can add to it. There's something great about the Digitac's 8 tracks. How much can you get out of the Digitac's 8 tracks? It's a lot. The Syntax has plenty of tracks. I'd say the Syntax has more than enough tracks. Like, I don't even need as many tracks as it has. I'm probably going to use, for the track that I'm working on right now, I'll probably use like 4 tracks, 5 tracks. I'm not going to use 12 tracks. It's crazy. What are you going to do with 12 tracks? It's just a lot. It's a lot of synthesis sounds, you know? It's not crazy. I'm crazy, but I think I don't need that many tracks on the Syntax to have a good time. I really like the analog engines. It's the part of the reason why I like the Syntax is the analog engines. So kind of like the Rhythm, right? It's got the same sounds as the Rhythm. You know, I'm going to detour from what I'm talking about just because this has been on my mind. The new Rhythm update, I know we covered it already. I only own the Mark 1, and we already did a stream on it. We already covered the whole thing. But it's so good. The update is so good, and it's the only box you need. It really is. Like, it's a one-stop shop. I feel like I want to build a set. I have a lot of ambitions that I don't follow through with, and I think that's you know, I think we're all like that. I think, you know, as passionate like hardware electronic music folks, I think especially like people who get really into modular, for instance, like your ambition with modular is always out of control. Like, do you actually do the stuff that you have in your mind, these ideas? Do you fulfill those ideas? It's pretty rare. You have to have like empty, you know, not empty, but you have to have deep pockets is what I meant to say. And then a lot of ambition because it takes so much time. But anyway, I have the ambition and I want to, and maybe someone could remind me and hold me accountable to this. I want to build a solo set with the analog rhythm and maybe take the Octatrack and then take the individual outputs of the analog rhythm and use some of those individual outputs and run those into the Octatrack and build my template, my performance template, again, just for the analog rhythm that splits 4 of the outputs of the analog rhythm into the Octatrack. So you'd take the main mix, and that would be the drum side. So the main mix would house all the drums, and then you would have 2 separate synth channels going into the Octatrack, where it could be your bass, so you could duck your bass on the Octatrack instead of ducking it in the rhythm, because ducking it in the rhythm turns off your LFO retrig on all of your tracks. It's really not convenient. These boxes let you do the LFO retrig on a per step basis. They're just newer. Frankly, they're better. They're just better. I do wish that I had the pads and stuff. I wish there was a Rhythm Mark III, just like I wish there was an Octatrack Mark III. I wish there was a Rhythm Mark III. I think it would be amazing. And this is kind of like what that is, I guess, to some folks. It isn't to me. To me, it's a synth engine. Like, it's multiple synth engines with an effects track and the Elektron sequencer. But I do think that just the rhythm is off the chain. It really is. I love my analog 4 as a primary melodic element in my setup, and these syntax sounds are really interesting and complex textures that sound very cool. Yeah, I feel like it's a hard time. Like, it's difficult to get some of the textures that that you can get from the dual VCO and the analog 4. They're not the same. They don't sound the same to me. I feel like the analog 4 is a very particular sound, and I kind of always get the same sounds out of that analog 4. Like, I don't know. I feel like the analog 4 it has a sound, and you can't escape its sound. And it's a good sound. Like, I own one. I haven't sold it or anything. I don't use it very much, but I think it sounds great. And honestly, what sold me on it was using it as a 4-voice poly synth. I was like, this sounds really good. And how you could do that on a per step basis, just like switch over and take over all the voices on one of your tracks just for a moment so that you could have a nice poly chord, or at least a stab or something. But the syntax synth engines for making these kind of tones, like, that's unique. I can't do it on the A4, not as easily at least. You can do it on the rhythm though. You can make the same sound on the rhythm. The rhythm will do it, even though it only has one LFO. We are using 2 LFOs here, so it won't do as good of a job. Where's that chord engine we were working on? So we had... I think it's page 3 I want to go. Dun, 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 dun. I guess I need to do it again. We need to make this scale longer. 1/2. That could be cool. I'm gonna mess with it. It might not be the sound that I want to go for, because I kind of like going... I want to go really dark with this, and that seems to make it really light, but maybe it's good for an intro pattern. What if we have the drums match that? doon, 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 doon. So it's every 4 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no. I guess that was right. So on the kick drum, it would have to be half scale, which means we go like this. Oh, this part's a pain. We're gonna ignore the chords for now. Oh, I'm not looking at the right screen, am I? All right. Y'all want to know something cool? Something you maybe didn't know? Did you know? Okay, when you think about zero, right now I'm gonna chop off the beginning of this sample, and it just brought something to my attention that I don't think anyone's ever talked about, and I've never mentioned, and that is, you know, when you're doing zero crossing detection on the Octatrack or on any piece of anything, you're doing zero crossing detection. You're looking for zero amplitude so that there isn't a clock. I always say clock because I'm saying click or pop, and I call it a clock for whatever reason. You're trying to avoid clicks and pops, right, with your zero crossing detection. But have you thought about the fact that if you are recording a stereo file, that your zero crossing is actually on both the left and right channel? And with that fact in mind, when you are searching for a zero crossing in your Octatrack, and you have something in here, let's just record something. Hang on. All right, that's fine. Oh, it's over here. We have this audio file right here. If you hit yes, if you go to the edit section, hit yes, and go to your change view mode, change view at the very bottom, you can change to stereo. And if you watch, maybe you won't be able to see from here. Look, there's only a zero crossing on the right channel, not on the left channel. Zero crossing on the left channel, not on the right channel. Zero crossing on both channels. When you're doing your zero crossing detection and you think that you're like, I did the zero crossings, why is there still clicks and pops in your audio samples? You didn't do it. You didn't do it right. Because if you're recording a stereo file, you have to be in a stereo view to see both zero crossings. And the same goes on your computer. But it's a big deal in the Octatrack. It's very frustrating to wonder why it's still sounding like a little click at the end and the beginning of your sample, and that's because you did not zero cross detect correctly. Right? And that's why we got clicks family. You know what I'm saying? Anomalous materials, have you decided if you're keeping the silver syntact or the black one? I am, at the moment, I'm keeping them both. Because I'm a clown. Clown face. That's me right now. All right, that's so stupid. I can't stop doing that. Solution to clicks and pops. Your music is clicks and pops. I can't argue with that one. That's a really good point. Black syntax and silver syntax equals Octatrack Mark III. Yeah, can you make emotes in YouTube? I mean, I could make it an emote in Discord. That's for sure. Yeah, by the way, I run a free to join public Discord. Come on in. Come on in. I announce shows in there. We have people come up. I think if you're familiar with Jay Hosking, I believe he's going to come up and play another Modbang show in the next couple of months, which is awesome. I love playing music with Jay. Jay is really a great talent. He's going to be playing with me and Som Shankar, who's also really awesome. That's a couple of months from now. That's whatever. My point is, you might know him. That's why I mentioned it, to be honest. That's really why I said that. Shit, what was I thinking? Yeah, well, yeah. Oh my God, of course I should. What kind of clowny thing is that? Like, I'm not even mentioning this. This month, in a few days, less than 2 weeks, is another Modbang event. with DJ Weak Acid, aka Nick Bigelow. He's been on this channel doing live, teaching modular, like how to perform live modular, and he wrote like a song from scratch on here. You should watch that video. It's really good. It's full of a lot of cool insights for modular artists. Yeah, he is playing. There's an ad running right now. For those of you who have YouTube, YouTube Premium, you didn't have to deal with that ad. I'm sorry about ads, but honestly, this is like what I do for work at this point. So it's like I kind of need, you know, I need it. I guess it's not that much money, so it's not a big deal. Anyway, yeah, premium's where it's at. I have premium. I think everybody should have premium. Premium's dope. Then the artists get paid or the YouTubers get paid, and you don't have commercials. And you don't have commercials. I said that twice because it's that important, because it's annoying. Premium's totally worth it. For sure. Yeah. No, okay, anyway, yeah, DJ Weak Acid's playing. Everybody dropped out, so there's a bunch of people doing it. Chris Barth is playing. He's a local here in Seattle. He makes the Monolith and the Taurus and the Dizygote. Did you see Jeremy Blake's video, Red Means Recordings video on Raw Ya Media? The person who makes those modules is performing at the next Modbang event coming up in a couple of days on December 19th. So that's dope. Come and see them play. And Mikey 303 is closing. Mikey 303, he's amazing. Mikey 303 will be killing it on a tracker. And why am I forgetting? Wait a second. Oh, and Peyton's playing. Holy shit. That's why I couldn't remember. I forgot, he's last minute. Peyton, Wet Paint, is playing. He's going to be using an Octatrack and the M8. If you don't know what Modbang is, or my Modbang event, I mean, you know what the Modbang store is maybe, because I did the ad about the turn your analog floor and analog 4 and analog rhythm flat. That's my shop, but I don't just host a shop selling patch cables and MIDI cables and balance cables and stands for the Octatrack. I also run a monthly live show here in Seattle where I put on 4 live performers at this place called the 4Bs. It's a very punk rock experience, and it's a hardware-only show, 4 performers at least every time, and no computers allowed, forbidden, and also ambient is forbidden. You could do ambient, but you got to put some drums behind it. And I guess it's not ambient anymore, but yeah, I put on these events. I have for over a year now, and they're awesome. So if you're in the Seattle area, or if you want to fly up here and play one, I can't give you much money. I won't give you that much money because I can't afford you. But I would love to have you play if you feel confident about playing and you want to come play an event. Feel free to reach out to me at mod@modbang.com. Should be easy to remember if you want to play a show. It's a good time. You live 2 blocks from the 4Bs? Come on down, dude. Have you not been to one of the shows? It's been going on forever. Come on down. That's right. And Antipodal was last month. And Antipodal was awesome. He did a great job singing his ass off. Anyway, we're talking about the Zero Crossings. I just sampled my voice and I thought it sounded awesome. Let's get back to that. You know, actually, freaking VT4, Roland VT4. I have a whole bunch of vocoders. I love vocoders. I do have a bunch of them. And when all else fails, and all else does fail quite often, I go back to the Roland VT4. It's the only one that hasn't let me down. I'm gonna be honest. If you have to get a vocoder, get a VT4. Or another one made by Boss, maybe. The Boss pedal, because that is Roland. Get one of those, maybe. Because it probably has a lot more features. I should get one of those. What am I thinking? All right, we got this sample. What the fuck? Here we go. Oh, we don't want that part. I guess we got to get that sound because it's like part of the timing with it. Let's just save it. We'll say, ah, ah. Vocal. Track 8. Let's go. What the heck? Let's just throw down some triggers and see what happens. Do I have an LFO on there or something? What is going on? Is it just me singing out of key? Somebody said the electron heat cannot split tracks. No, it cannot. Oh, this is a good question. Minimal Chimera asks, "What's everyone's favorite piece of non-electron gear to pair with your electron setup?" I gotta say, I want to say that M8 would be my go-to, would be my favorite. But the truth is, the one that I always pair, always, is a 303. And it happens to be the Roland TB03 because that's the easiest one to use and the most affordable for what it does. So I have to say the answer for me is the TB03. If it wasn't the TB03, I would say my favorite piece of kit that isn't on the table that we're looking at right now is the Dirty Wave M8. Maybe the Roland VT4 because I use it a lot. Because it's dope. It's been a while since I made music like this. This is like more akin to the kind of music that I am used to making. This is the kind of stuff that I typically would make, so I just love all the melodies and the vocals and... Copy, 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 copy. Next pattern, paste, 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 paste. Whoa, 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 whoa. Do it. Let's do it. Copy, paste, 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 snare. Damn it. Ooh. Claps. Kicks. What are these goofy kicks? That's kind of cool. I feel like I'm getting a little too goofy now with this song. I don't know. I don't know if I like that kick very much. I don't know if I really like this like double time rhythm thing. Like it's kind of cool, but I feel like I'm kind of I don't know if I like it. The transition from this well, that's kind of cool. What is that? It sounds like somebody's blowing bubbles or something. What the fuck? Yeah, not a fan. Aha! Oh, here's all the good kicks. Here we go. A breakbeat would work, and actually, that's funny that you. Of course, it's not funny that you said that because it's kind of. I think it's kind of obvious at this point because we are playing at 165 BPM, and my original intention was to do some drum and bass. That's why it was at 165 BPM, and then I got carried away with just playing on the Syntact, and then I ended up making a much slower drum beat, which is going to end up being the opening pattern now. I forgot. We're jamming. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Elektron Talk. We discussed quite a bit of stuff. Talked about the analog heat+fx. Really, I complained a lot, and then I discovered that I liked it more than I complained, I guess. If that's a sentence. Not one that makes much sense. Anyway, I decided that I liked it more than I thought I did. We wrote some music. We sampled some vocals, one of my favorite things to do. Showed off the Octacosm template, which only has about 4 presets in it, and it's in a very, very beta stage. If you join the Patreon, it'll be yours, hopefully by Christmas. Join the Discord, please. It's completely free. Just come and hang out, talk about Elektron stuff if you're not already there. And the last thing was, I showed off my new Elektron stands that I made that make the analog rhythm and the analog 4 flat, as they should have been originally. And anybody who says otherwise is just straight up wrong. You're just wrong, and I'm right, and you're wrong. This is what it's supposed to look like, so you should buy these, because they make everything better. This is the big mistake Elektron made. When they made the Analog 4 Mark II and the Analog Rhythm Mark II, they made this huge mistake. They didn't make them flat, and I fixed it for them. And you can have it too, in these wonderful colors. Look at what it does. Put your cables underneath. Run your Analog 4 right out into your Syntac, just like that. Isn't that lovely? Wow. Wow, Matt. Wow. My name's Matthew, aka EZBOT. This has been an episode of Elektron Talk. If you're interested in supporting this channel, you can visit patreon.com/EZBOT and get your hands on all of my Octatrack performance templates, a sample pack made from the WMD drum machines, and some of my sounds that I designed in the Digitact that turn the Digitact into a pretty cool synthesizer. In fact, I want to make more sample packs for the Digitact to give out to people that use the single cycle waveforms and some clever synthesis techniques that I've learned over the years of working in the synth shop and whatnot, and share them with you on my Patreon or for free or whatever. Those are the rewards. I also do private lessons if you're interested in learning how to do what we did in the stream today. If you want to know how to use an Octatrack and you're not sure how to use your Octatrack, if your Octatrack's been sitting on the shelf, I keep having people telling me that they never heard of my channel or heard of any of this stuff, and that's fine. I'm not a big YouTuber or anything. But I want people to hear about me because I want to help people learn this kit. So if you want to learn this kit, you can hire me and I'll teach you. And we have a really good time. It's full of laughs. And I learn a lot too from you. And hopefully you learn a lot from me. And it's a nice exchange. And it also makes it so that I can continue to do this and pay my bills. So if you're interested in lessons, you should do that. Otherwise, look forward to the Octacosm if you're on the Patreon. Look forward to more updates with my performance templates. I do have a new one coming out as well called the Octatrack Solo Template V2, which is an updated version of the Octatrack Solo Template that I originally had with 8-bar sampling, 8-bar loops, and some effects from the Ultimate Effects template built into that template so that you can play it with your samples and just run them all through those effects. And should be a good time. That's going to be it from me tonight. I'm going to go to Phoenix this weekend. I will be back next Wednesday. So hopefully I will be able to stream again next Wednesday because I don't want to miss a single week. And I'm going to go hang out and meet my homie's kids because I've never met his kids. And I feel bad about that. I'm going to go remedy that this winter. So look forward to catching up with y'all in the Discord, on the Patreon, and next week right here on EZBOT. I'm EZBOT. On EZBOT, I'm EZBOT. Whatever. Okay. Take it easy.